Welcome to GHOSTWATCH2016. The three of us are watching Kamen Rider Ghost. My name is Coriander Dickinson, and I've seen a bunch of Kamen Rider.
My name is Heather Deary. I've seen every single piece of Kamen Rider ever. I've decided this now.
My name is Kate Stark, and what am I doing here again?
Is this because you lose your notes every single time?
Yeah,
and because you didn't bring your glasses this time?
The cloud eats them, and then you told me to empty my trash, and then all my notes went away, and you said, oh, you did empty your trash.
You gotta feed the cloud. It gets hungry.
It keeps eating my notes.
It's hungry.
Heather and I have our notes in paper form, but Kate Stark over here has to be special with her fancy MacBook.
Tech whiz.
Tech whiz.
Kate Stark. I can't write as fast as you guys do, but I can type faster.
No. I can type way faster than I can write. This makes everything complicated. These paper notes means I mess up stuff way more, and I'm still into it.
Then get a computer.
No.
All right, well.
She does have a computer.
I do, but I'm not bringing it for this.
I can't help you there, bud. Last week, adults
Adults go to baby
Thank
is
you.
what is in your notes.
Yeah, last week, adults go to baby, train ramen mom, and donaire gnome named Jiro, but we're calling him donaire gnome.
It's Gyro.
Also, it's Trom.
Jiro. Oh yeah, so train ramen mom, we've nicknamed after lengthy discussion, Trom.
It's easier to say.
Trom.
See, Kate believes that Train Ramen Mom
Train ramen mom.
just falls off the tongue.
It
Just,
does.
like,
It's
trips down the
perfect.
stairs and face plants into a wall.
It's perfect, but it's hard to write down in notes.
Train ramen mom. It's like the train part is climbing up a tiny hill, and then you just like toboggan down the other side. Train ramen mom. So we're calling her Trom.
Trom.
Trom. Also, TROM stands for Train Ramen, obviously, Mom. In case you were wondering. We have 39 days left. This episode is called
Reminiscence, the Hidden Heart.
It's a dumb name. All right, start us off.
10 years ago.
Taco
No,
Time
for
is
real,
still stuck in a flashback.
It's fun because we get shots of the downstairs temple basement lab periodically, and Taco is actually there in the present, standing there. So it's not like when he gets sucked into the icons and he disappears. He's actually there. He's just staring at nothing off in the corner while everyone's talking around him.
Same, though.
And no one notices.
Same.
It me.
We're just having memory flashbacks. You don't want to disturb a person in the middle of a memory flashback.
Dr. Igarashi is describing the events of 10 years ago, and in those events of 10 years ago, Taco is seeing his dead dad alive and trying to talk to him, but he's a memory ghost and cannot interact.
Hold up. We don't have a nickname.
For Dr. Igarashi?
I've just been
No.
calling him Doctor.
Same, but that's not quite up to our standards.
He hasn't really done anything quite up to our standards.
He's hidden in an old lab. He ran a little bit in this episode.
Trainier did way more running than
He
Dr.
likes
Man.
poetry.
None of this is really striking a chord with me.
He thinks Akari's a real scientist. Spoilers, I guess. That comes later.
Frankenstein.
What?
Might as well.
I say we
he
keep
doing mad science.
Let's keep calling him Doctor until something really lands.
Memory Doctor?
Old Dr. Man.
Dr. Mem?
Mem? Dr. Memory.
Dr. Mem.
I don't like saying that.
We could just call him D.
The D.
The D.
We got there. We got there.
The D. So the
You
D
know.
is describing... the D is describing the events of 10 years ago, describing the meeting that happened between them and Gramps the first time 10 years ago, them being Dead Dad, the D, and Scary Mouth Man. They're preparing for a gnome invasion in 10 years. And Gramps is saying that they can't really fight the gnomes because the gnomes have 15 guardian spirits protecting their world called the Ganmeisers, and they're all immortal and can't be defeated. And Dead Dad has the idea of putting 15 heroic spirits from Earth into some blank icons, and then them using the fancy technology belt that they were making to tap the power of the icons and fight the Ganmeisers for some reason.
Well, they're going to use the heroes who burn the brightest due to infinite potential. I think that's
something
an
like
energy source you can have. Our cars run on that, right?
No, it's the heart of humanity has infinite potential. So
Oh,
really
you're
any
right.
human would have
Right.
done, I guess.
Right, so not dinosaur bones. Got it.
And while this is going on, back in the real time in the real world, Trainyard is out on the temple steps having a sulk time.
Has a quick flashback to leaving flowers for his dad with his mom when he was younger. And then more flashback of him being older and mom in the ramen shop being like, you need to be manly, and him basically internalizing, I need to be a heroic, manly dude. I'm nothing like my dad. I'm a screw up.
Yeah, he's having one of those moments we've all had where we sit around and then have that memory hit us that makes us mad. And instead of what I normally do, which is just sit there and continue to be mad, he gets up and runs away.
I have that feeling all day, every day.
And then Trom sneaks out of the temple behind him.
I love Trom.
Back in the basement, in the memory verse, Dead Dad uses the Musashi hilt guard to summon Musashi. And it's not the jacket spirit quite. It is Musashi, but it's
It's like the spirit almost.
it's more spirity than jacket.
Yeah, he's dressed fairly plain, actually. He comes out and chats for a sec.
Well, they haven't figured out their uniforms yet, clearly.
They don't have the budget.
And I think this is when Back in Time Memory Taco is all like, I'm going to try to touch my dad. Oh no. I'm a memory ghost.
Yeah. All of us were sitting here going like, he's going to try to grab his dad. He's going to try to touch his arm. No. And then he just went right through him and ghosted.
Onari is making sure that kids are eating dumplings in the Snapple headquarters.
He keeps saying like, oh, they're so well behaved. I'm like, did you not remember them from last episode when they were throwing crap at your face?
And then he's like, oh no. Are the children getting younger?
Turns out the children were getting younger. Train comes in and says, where's Trom? And then we cut to a real quick shot of Pretty Boy in a park.
Near some swings. That's it. He was looking at the map that his sister sent him and fiddling with his
Poncho?
bracelet. No, his fancy eyedropper bracelet.
And then just living in his poncho.
Living, just existing.
Existing in his poncho.
Then we're back in the memory verse with the +1 icon that ain't going to get a hero, but 10 years from now, Dead Dad, who is not dead yet, wants it to go to his son because he believes in his son's infinite potential and that he will do what he can't. I think he knows he's going to die.
Probably. Gramps was kind of concerned. He's like, do you really want your kid in on this? Do you really trust him and believe? Like, come on now. And then, yeah, Dad had like a heartfelt speech, which Taco heard and enjoyed.
Like father, like son.
Mm-hmm. Now we're back with Trom, and she is back at the flowers she dropped when she got transformed into a child. Train runs up and is like, you can't just wait here. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you're going to wait here for 5 years until your
Prince comes.
Dude shows up, and you can't do this. And then she runs off again.
And they get shot at by gnomes.
Yup.
Yeah, so, Kate, this is how messed up my notes are. Train spider lantern attacks.
If anyone else were to read these notes, they would be like, what drugs are you three doing?
Tree in park, 5 years. Shot at by gnomes. Necrom. Tap potential of icons driver.
Gets shot at, and spider lanterns show gnomes. Poncho Boy sees this. Necrom?
So, Trom and Trainyard are at the tree. They get shot at by gnomes. Trainyard uses tiny spider lantern to reveal the presence of the gnomes, and then I guess screams, and Necrom, aka Poncho Boy, hears it and transforms off screen.
Really quick.
Because all we see is Trainyard, and then like a gnome gets thrown at him.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay.
And then there's some punching.
First, invisible gnome shot at him for no reason. Second, he had spider lantern for no reason.
How does he see the fact that there is a gnome there?
He got shot at from nowhere.
But still, I guess he's trained.
Wouldn't you just like reflexively just always have spider lantern on the go?
I mean, I would, but I don't think Trainyard would.
No.
Like, do the gnomes not harass you if you can't see them?
Maybe they harass because they know that he's a part of Snapple.
Mm-hmm.
One of them.
I don't know. I don't know if I would know that they're part of Snapple, given that out of all those business cards that we saw in that one episode, they don't get their own business cards.
I feel like Gnome Hell might have like some posters up about Snapple.
Wanted.
If you see
Snapple.
these people, shoot at them indiscriminately, even if they're near their child moms.
I believe we're back in the lab with the D.
The D's talking about how they were building a driver belt to tap the potential of the icons. And then Saionji betrayed them. Scary mouth man. Betray.
He just, I'm sorry, my notes, because I couldn't pay attention to this. Belt and stick. See ya, nerds.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what happened. He held up some weird glowy stick and that weird belt. It was just like,
Yeah,
bye.
it looked like the 11th Doctor's
Sonic screwdriver.
Sonic screwdriver a bit. Like, got the wibbly bit on the end, but then it was much bigger for the rest of it. And then he had
the D's would be bigger.
He had the belt that was embedded in the briefcase.
You blew right past that. I'm so proud of you.
Nope. It's processing now. Okay. What I love is that every time they bring up like what went wrong, we get that clip of Canon and Makoto being sucked into the monolith as children.
I forgot
It's
about
just
that.
like everything's normal in Science Land. Everything's normal in Science Land, and then two children getting sucked into a monolith
Sucks to be the kids.
in a flashback. So there's like they try to like ramp up the stakes. They're like, oh, what's gonna happen? But we already know because we've seen it like 5 times.
Oh, more than that.
Like 5. I can't count
Probably
big numbers.
10. This is episode 32. We've seen it more than just
We weren't
that.
even introduced to Makoto until like episode 2. I don't know when we were introduced to Makoto.
Okay.
I have a note down here. It just says, Doctor, why'd you die, dead dad? Why'd you have to die, dead dad? Why?
Yeah, the D gets on the floor and is like, I was a coward. I was afraid.
Yeah, the D fell over and started crying.
Because Scary Mouth Man came back into the lab back in time with 2 like police gnomes, and
Oh no, Scary Mouth Man made the D run away.
and the D was like underneath the loft, and he was like, ah, and we're like, we know what happened to you because we found you hiding in a lab like 10 years later in like your old office. The D.
The, comma, D. Or D, comma, the. Sorry.
D the. No, that doesn't work.
Oh, and then Taco Time's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't protect you.
The D's like, does that mean? And then Akari just butts in out of nowhere and is like, Taco has the ability to see memories.
Just by the way.
By the way.
And then
It's like, oh, is this what Dead Dad meant by infinite potential?
yeah, and we're just like, no. But
No, this
everybody,
is all very messy at this point.
everybody was nodding and smiling, like, yeah, no, we figured it out.
And as soon as that was said, when they're like, is this what he meant by infinite potential? The two of you at the same time went, no.
Because, like, the D wasn't even asking that question, and Akari just gave that information out of nowhere based on nothing. And then Taco didn't deny that that was what Dead Dad meant by infinite potential. He's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm burning the brightest.
There was a lot of that in this episode, though, where someone would be like, hey, Thing and somebody else would be like, no, this other thing that doesn't make any sense.
And doesn't relate to this thing at all.
And then Makoto and Cannon, who have been lurking at the top of the basement stairs in the doorway, are just like, yeah, we're fine.
But Cannon was like, I want to know the truth. And then Spectre's like, I'm here for you, pal.
Onari runs in and is like, hey, the children are getting younger.
Look, I brought these children as an example. You totally remember these specific children, right?
And Akari's like, oh no, the age regression science thing is still happening.
So they all go up into the loft and break up into groups, with Akari and Makoto going to go close the gate that the time juice is coming out of.
But we realize that Trainyard and his mom are both missing. So Taco runs after them.
With Airport. And then Cannon and Onari stay behind to babysit.
So now we're at the ramen place, the ramen restaurant that Trom once owned when she was an adult. And Train is running through looking for Trom, turning on lights and all that. And we see it, but Trainyard does not. That Trom is actually hiding under a table and sleeping.
I don't think Trainyard was ever a child. I mean, hiding under tables is a very kid thing to do.
But we see a flashback of him later.
We've seen him as a child already, and also he's just bad at looking.
Okay, fine. I mean, he has those glasses for a reason.
So then Taco shows up and is like, oh, did you find Trom? And Train's like, no. So they sit down and then have a real Hort to Hort.
The face you're making right now.
I'm so happy.
I've never seen you smile that large.
Kate is the happiest person I've ever seen.
I'm crying. I'm so happy. Right, so Train is really sorry for how he's been acting, and Taco's like, no.
Does Hort to Hort make you happier than the D?
I would hope
I
so.
think it's like equal. Watch out for my range of stickers coming out soon. Small Hort.
And the D?
Oh my god, they fight crime.
What?
Small Hort and the D, they fight crime.
Sign me up.
Yeah, no,
I
down.
get your first sticker pack.
Let's kickstart it. Right, so Train is very sorry for how he's been acting. Taco's like, no, it's cool. So why don't you and your mom get along? Like, flat out asked him. And then he's like, oh, it's because I'm not manly.
I'm not like my dad.
I'm not like my dad.
But then we find out how thirsty Trom is for her husband.
One moment. Back the truck up slightly. When Taco runs out of the lab, he gets followed by an icon, and he yells as he's leaving, I won't let her die as a child.
Oh, right. That's very
Forgot
important.
about that.
It's very important. I won't let her die as a child.
I'll let her die as an adult, but not as a kid.
Well, as an adult, you're kind of
Bound to at some
halfway
point.
there.
Cut to under a bridge. In run Akari, Makoto, and the D. They meet up with the shiny green poncho boy.
We find out that Trom made the ramen place after Dead number 5 died because they had their first date at a ramen place, which is really sweet.
Yeah, kind of thirsty though.
I don't know, I kind of would hope so, given that relationship. They were married.
It's good to have thirst in marriage.
Okay. Maybe with the D. If you're married to the D, then
I'm
maybe
not gonna
it's
marry
cool.
the D. He's like 60.
But his
But-
name is
but-
the D.
But Corey, she married the delinquent.
the smaller D.
Whoa.
The younger D.
The smaller, younger D.
We know that's Donaire Gnome, right? We're pretty sure.
Yeah.
The mid-sized D. At least I hope it's Donaire. I hope that there's that level of coverage in this series. So then we flash back a little more forward than last time.
We realize this is very confusing, but this is just how the episode went.
And it is when Trainyard left the ramen place, a confrontation with his mom about how he's not manly and awesome, and he's going to go train at the temple for 3 years and not see his mom for a while.
Well, he hasn't seen his mom in 3 years, and when he finally does see her again, she is a child
It happens.
every day.
So then Trom wakes up and runs out basically in the middle of Taco and Trainyard having this.
Because Taco is all like, parents love their children.
All parents love
All
their
parents
children.
love all of their children so much.
Which is not true.
So much.
It's a kids show, though.
Love their children.
I don't think you're allowed to not love your children in a kids show.
Parents love their children.
So then Trom busts through both of them and goes and runs away. Runs.
She is good at shoving and they are bad at blocking.
I mean, they could have just like stood and she wouldn't have run past. They folded like cheap paper.
I mean, one of them's a ghost. It's not his fault he's not substantial.
And then they ran into airport outside.
And he's like, wait, isn't that your mom? And they're like, yes, dummy. We're running after her.
Back to the bridge.
I believe Poncho Boy transforms, and so does Spectre.
Into Deep Spectre because
They go to destroy the gate, but Donaire, who's Gyro or Jiro.
The ultimate donaire shows up.
Ultimate Donaire.
Ultimate Donaire shows up. And transforms, and they punchy punch a bunch.
And Akari tries to use glitter gun somehow to gather a sample of whatever thing is coming out of the portal that makes people de-age. And Spectre blocks one of them from hitting her somehow.
Oh, with his fist. He punched
With his
it,
fist.
right? This was also when part of that plasma stuff hit a building and made it tiny.
It made it into like an old school looking house. They're in a pretty industrial area. And then we realized that time is regressing.
We didn't realize that. The D told us.
The D realized that time is regressing.
Which means that the Spectre can punch time.
And Akari knows that this is not age regression.
It's time regression. So now Trom is at the tree with the bouquet of flowers again. This is young Trom, obviously. And
Getting younger every day.
Really. Trainyard runs up and is like, look, I know I'm not manly, but...
Then two super gnomes appear and rock up and are revealed by the spider lantern. And Taco Time comes to rescue them all in booster juice form.
Train and Trom run off, but then there are some more gnomes around, and Train has flashbacks about how he needs to be strong and how his mom loves him, and so he gets real brave with a stick.
Yeah, and just runs in and tries to goof him up real good. Ends up falling to the ground.
Trom cheers him on.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, he's so cool now.
Basically, Taco comes up and saves the day. But
Taco does not come up and save the day. Taco flies in from left field with his foot on fire.
With a booster kick.
And then just
Well,
explodes
okay,
all
so-
those gnomes.
But then Trom says, you're like a prince, you're a fine man. And so, like, Train's pretty happy about that.
And then Booster Juice becomes Taco Time again, and it's like, hey, that was cool, and they like friendship handshake, and I believe we all also shouted no at this point.
Yeah, because literally Taco, as he's lifting Train off the ground, says, that was pretty cool, huh? And all of us screamed at the TV, no, it wasn't.
Because he just killed like 5 generic gnomes
Yeah, but
with his fire kick.
but telling this poor Train who's on the ground scared, hey, that was neat, huh?
Like, he didn't even try to hit them properly with the stick, he just kind of flailed around with it.
But it's all he knew.
Cut back to under the bridge. Necrom and Deep Spectre are on either side of Ultimate Donaire and are trying to punch him but not doing a very good job, and he is punching them instead. And sometimes he makes his hands glow and then he lightnings them.
Akari takes the glitter gun and shoots the eyeball gate, and then blue eyeball rocks fall down, and she picks them up, and the D is like, oh, you're a hell of a scientist. Again, we all shouted no.
It's true.
She didn't hit the gate, she hit one of the blue plasma fluid things that were coming out of the gate, which I think was what she was trying to hit the whole time.
I was busy shouting no at the TV for the D's comments, Corey.
But she picks up with these giant tweezers, essentially, these grabber tongs, samples of the crystal blue rock things and puts them in this padded petri dish. So she has samples for later.
And Ultimate Donaire is kicking butt. Blasts Necrom with his lightning fist hand, and it blows the Necrom off of Poncho Boy.
This is when Spectre does that thing, isn't it?
Then
Yeah, Spectre
Ultimate
gets real
Donaire
angry.
is flying in the air under the bridge with his lightning fist. He's like, "Goodbye, young master," because he's going to do in PB.
Spectre gets so angry. In fact, you could say he gets furious because the screen called him Furious Spectre at this point.
He gets
No, that was the name of the move. That was Furious Spectre Omega Drive.
he acquires these, I swore a lot in my notes here, but these dumb effing wings, and he flies into the effing air like the other idiot.
It could be worse. Could be a quadcopter.
They're purple wings. No, quadcopter is cool.
And
Houdini
then
is not cool.
No, but the quadcopter is.
so he's flying in the air like a dummy, and then the other one's flying in the air like a dummy, and then they destroy the gate, and he destroys the dude. Does he destroy the dude?
We don't know.
He
There's an
destroyed.
explosion on the human side of the gate, and then we see the other side at the prayer room. There's the swirly portal with all the tablets, and it's like, interference detected. And then Sweat Emperor is like, oh no.
And that's literally all we see of him the entire show.
Tutankhamun steals Taco
From where they are.
into his eyeball space and tells him he'll lend him his power.
And we haven't mentioned this, but all episode Tutankhamun's icon has been poking out of people's pockets, just being like, hey, hi.
It just straight up flew after him at one point.
While Tutankhamun and Taco are talking, Tutankhamun is basically like, I became Pharaoh, but then I died before I even became an adult. So I understand what's going on with the kids and what is going on with you, because you're going to die.
Let's help the children.
Taco transforms into Grateful Soul. He has also got like Tutankhamun standing next to him. And they both have scythes, which is problematic. Why, Corey?
Because the scythe blade is the snake cell phone, the flip phone, Cobra phone.
Right, so Cobra Phone clearly has an additional relative that he's not told us about and he's embarrassed by. So, stepbrother?
Cobra phone hasn't really appeared much since Makoto got nice.
That's true, actually.
Maybe Cobra Phone is embarrassed to be around Makoto.
Maybe Cobra phone is hiding from Tiny Table Friends because they have a history.
Did they have a fight?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Cobra phone might have been like one of the younger siblings, like
Oh.
Condor phone, Cobra phone.
They're distant cousins. Oh no.
So at this point, they both like scythe the air, and pyramids descend upon all of the children who were transformed.
That's a little simplistic.
No, easy peasy.
Okay. They scythe the air together, forming these giant pyramids. One is blue, one is gold. They fly up into the air
Mm-hmm.
and spin together, forming, for some reason, a bigger pyramid. And that pyramid explodes into tiny pyramids that go and land on all the children in all of the buildings wherever they are.
That's exactly what I said.
And then the little pyramids shrink down onto them
and all of the kids
like
turn
cocoons.
back into adults. You're not wrong.
I think you just described the plot of Yu-Gi-Oh!
And then Akari says they've isolated the time anomaly.
She's still trying to make this work with science.
The D is there to support her.
as always. Trom is back to being an adult woman and is very confused. Like, what am I doing here? And then sees Train and is like, what are you doing here? Train's very excited, runs up, hugs her, and she hates it.
He's like, I'm mushy. I'm not like my dad at all. I'm mushy.
And I think she realizes, like, he doesn't have to be manly. That's okay. And then just, like, says, you want ramen, don't you? And they smile and they're both happy. Flashback to Train Kid Train, eating ramen, sitting at a table. And Mom is like, you don't have to eat my ramen every day. And he's like, but it's my fave. I love it so much. And she's like, well, let's open a restaurant. That sounds great.
So it wasn't because she went on a date with her prince to the restaurant. It's because her baby child loved ramen so much that she made it her business.
And then, not flashback, real life, Mom looks at Train and says, you're starting to look like a real man. And he's like, well, my training's paying off, I guess.
So there was a voice from the sky at this point that was just like, Takaru, thank you.
We think it's Taco's mom?
Dead mom,
Dead
who's never
mom.
been mentioned.
Nope. I assumed he didn't have a mom.
That would be a good assumption, given all the screen time that Dead Dad has been given.
The D is now saying that basically he can trust Snapple to uphold the rest of his research and hands Akari a small leather-bound notebook.
A bujo.
No.
Yeah, it's totally a bujo.
It's not a bullet journal.
Tells her that it can be used to decrypt the riddle of the gnomes.
Unravel the secrets of the gnomes.
I can tell you what's in this bujo. It's in his future logs. It says 10 years from now, the future generation will take care of our BS.
For those who don't know, Bujo is bullet journal.
Which this thing was not.
It could have been.
That was a lot of information for one episode.
I'm very tired.
Me too.
Yep.
I've aged many years in this episode.
But are you as old as
The D?
Gramps?
Oh.
Did you get hit by a pyramid on the way?
No.
I got hit by...
Are you serious?
No.
Were you gonna say
I
that?
was not going to say that, actually. I
Oh,
was going to say a different thing.
I don't
but
believe
I'm not
you.
saying that either.
I don't believe
Have you been hit by? Have you been struck by a smooth criminal?
I'll say that.
Okay.
That's not too bad. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Corey, hit him up with the deets.
You can find GhostWatch2016 on Twitter at GhostWatch2016. You can subscribe to our podcast on many podcast services by searching for GhostWatch2016. Thank you for listening. You can go to our website, ghostwatch2016.xyz, and if you really like us and want to support us, you can donate money there. We're not on Ello. Don't ask.
What about Peach?
Shut up.
How about LinkedIn?
Do you want us to go on LinkedIn? You'll never stop getting the emails.
What about Mastodon?
I mean, we did talk about setting up a Mastodon instance.
God dang.
It's real easy. I have the technology.
How
I've
about
got an entire server.
how
I
about
didn't.
how about Ghostodon for ghost dinosaurs?
Mastodosed.
You know, mastodons are dead, right? All
What?
mastodons are ghosts.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.